So I am going to put the Cincinnati Bengals on top of this division and just be prepared to take the wet noodle lashings that come with that. I don't believe the Steelers are that much better than they were last year. If I hear one more thing about Mike Tomlin's non-losing season streak, I'm going to jump out a window. We were 38 points below average or below even last year. We gave up 38 more points than we scored. We were holding that thing together with duct tape and baling wire. Mike Tomlin deserves every penny they pay him. I get all that. That's not a recipe for competing for a championship. Do we sneak into the playoffs? Maybe. I think the AFC is down this year. The South is atrocious. I think the West takes a step back from what was already a step back beyond expectations last year. The East, I think it's the Bills and everybody else. So, there's 3 wild cards available in this conference. Could the Steelers sneak into one of them at 9-8 or 10-7? Sure, they could. But the Bengals are probably going to win this division if they stay healthy. They have the best wide receiver in the division. They have one of the better running backs in the division. They probably have the best, certainly the most proven at this point. Sorry, Steeler fans. We'll see what Kenny Pickett can do in the regular season against defenses that are scheming to stop him before we declare him the second coming of whoever. But yeah, so I'm going to go Joe Burrow and the Bengals to top the division. I will say the Steelers slide in at second. I have the Cleveland Browns at third. And I have the Dirty Birds going down in a flaming cauldron of sulfur and brimstone.
I kind of knew you were going to do this, but I'm enjoying it anyway.
Listen, every time in my lifetime the Ravens have gotten good, and they've got a quarterback that they fall in love with, that everybody else goes, I don't know, they blow up. It's never been a quarterback-driven team. Joe Flacco obviously got him to and won a Super Bowl. Great, Joe. Excellent. Wonderful job. But on the whole, I don't see it. Lamar Jackson hasn't been particularly good in the postseason. I think him holding out, in my opinion, at the end of last year because they didn't want to pay him. And he was playing, the whole tag thing and injuries and guaranteed contracts.
And it's been such a tumultuous offseason with that looming over the result. I know eventually it ended kind of ends well, but it has been a weird, rocky journey for the last year or so. He
still didn't get what he wanted. Like, the whole thing was the Ravens paid more than they wanted to pay, and they still didn't keep him happy. So, like, at the end of the day, is he riding into town now going, all right, I'm happy? No, he's riding into town going, I'm obviously getting paid a lot of money, but with a chip on his shoulder at the same time over what he had to do to get it and how long the team made him wait for it and what the final contract looked like. Plus, I continue to – and listen, I'm not one of these people who says Lamar Jackson's a running back. I understand he's got an arm. Don't hear me to say I think Lamar Jackson's a bad quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson's game is dependent on him being the best athlete on the field, because one of the reasons he is able to throw the ball in the way that he does is because people are afraid to come and try to get him in the backfield sometimes when their responsibility is containment, because if he runs around him, then he's going to run for 50 yards. If he's not the best athlete on the field anymore, that's no longer the case. He doesn't have as much time in the pocket. People play him differently. They scheme him differently. You've seen it when he was hobbled, right? When he's not 100%, teams aren't as afraid of him. And I think you'll see that a lot as he gets older. He's coming off an injury, lest we forget. The last 2 years, he didn't finish the season. Their play with him and without him, obviously demonstrably different. Can he stay healthy? If he's healthy, is he happy? Seems to be one of these players who needs to be positive in the press all the time. People need to tell him how wonderful he is. He needs to read his name on the
big
Insta.
Trust, Tim. We need big trust is what we need, I believe. That was the phrase of choice, was not.
Blah, 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 blah. I don't care what they call it these days. What he really wants is to be coddled and told how wonderful he is by everyone who talks to him. And, listen, there's a lot of football players. Lamar Jackson's one of many in that boat.
Yes.
I think it was Deshaun Watson in this very division who was just caught blocking people who didn't even follow it. Like, they didn't even mention him in the account. He's like searching his name on Twitter.
Kevin Durant sort of situation. No, I agree.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth,
so there you go. Steelers are second behind the Bengals, then the Browns, then the Ravens.